from the local station. This is Weather Authority Weekday.
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Mark Collins. We're waking up to a nice sunny Jacksonville, Florida. The weather has been pretty good here in the mornings and then gets dicey in the afternoon. Coming up, we're going to be talking about some of the storms that set fires to homes in the area yesterday. But first, let's cover the bases. And right now is a nice time to be out before the heat kicks in. Yeah, the heat's going to be with us. Back into the 90s we go, but we've got some sunshine. We've got light winds. Yesterday, that sea breeze was really late to develop, but it has been strong late in the afternoon and evenings, and those southerly winds have actually cooled off the ocean. It's called Ekman transport. When you get south winds, deeper you go in the water, the more the direction turns to the right, and that's created upwelling, which has brought water temperatures down. So if you're going for a swim, it will feel nice, like some upper 70s versus our 90-degree air temperature today. So here we go right now at 84, on our way up to about 93 this afternoon. We have been seeing a lot of days in the mid-90s. In fact, 94 has been a popular number with over 5 days this month reaching that. But I think we'll stop short of that here this afternoon. We've got some sunshine to take us higher. The bigger system is that cold front with the low pressure that's moving through Iowa. That's where the heavy rains will be. We'll have our own local homegrown thunderstorms feeding off the sea breezes this afternoon. But what is different today compared to yesterday? Most of you will not see the rain. It's going to be mainly over inland areas. We're talking western spots, primarily out towards the Highway 301 corridor, possibly into the Normandy west side area of Jacksonville. And that would be this afternoon when rain chances jump to about 40% from 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then by 7 and 8, things start to settle down tonight. So we're going to see mostly dry conditions along the I-95 corridor. Beaches should not see any rain here today, and temperatures a few degrees warmer than what's typical for this time of year, which is around 91, 92. So no big surprise there here as we approach the end of the month. This is just business as usual with those clockwork storms. You see that little area of green carved out in our southern communities. Remember yesterday during the stream, I said you probably wouldn't get any rain in those areas. We didn't have rain in St. Augustine, Palaca, and today those rain chances are going to be pretty low with overall the same pattern with most of the storms remaining west of the river and then slow movement towards the north and northeast. So that might bring in some rain around the Yulee area, and then northward into southern Georgia, but I doubt we'll see much of that rain working its way back towards Jax Beach, or even for that matter, the coastal areas of Fernandina Beach. All right, timeline. This is how you see it. Bird's eye view of where the rain should be, radar depiction. The future forecast shows really quiet conditions here at 3 o'clock when yesterday things were getting going. But by 4 or 5, you can see some areas of scattered showers developing. Yesterday we had that line just stretched up right along I-10. It seemed like that rain would never move out in the evenings. You can see how the rain still somewhat targets that area around Baker County, back through Columbia County, Lake City. You'll see some rain here as we head into the early evening. But again, most of us missing out on the rain closer to the coast. So that should be it for today. Tomorrow, however, we'll see a different setup where rain will be increasing in coverage around the beaches and into many of the metro areas from St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, but that's Thursday. Today, I think you're going to be out of the mix as far as rainfall goes. Temperatures right now, pretty much on par around the state with what we're seeing. And then this afternoon, it's going to be rainy in Orlando. But before that rain develops around some of the theme parks, they'll top out there in the mid-90s. So warmth will be everywhere except for that trade wind down across southeast Florida with some upper 80s in those locations. I like this graphic not just because it shows the amount of rain, but really just the coverage. And you can see how it's really kind of highlighting what I tried to describe verbally with the rain targeting the Trail Ridge area. That's that line from Baker County into western Duval, and that's where the green ends. Anywhere east of that, pretty dry. So we're not expecting much rain there. On Thursday, though, that's when the rain will start to shift eastward and bring bigger impacts to those coastal areas. So this is a situation here that will be with us through the end of the week, but by the end of the weekend, I think we're going to get back into a drier weather pattern. But this doesn't go that far out. This forecast just takes us here through Thursday and then Friday. So let's stop off here on Thursday And you can see how the rain in North Florida, southern Georgia, does inch closer to the coastline. We'll have more of a southwesterly steering flow. Remember, as cold fronts drop south, winds tend to turn clockwise, and that southwesterly wind would be steering the rain back to the beaches. And as long as that front is just to our north, we're going to be in that steering flow once more for Friday. It will also help to draw moisture, and that combination will lead to better outlook for rain, jumping to around 50% on Friday versus the lower 40% here for tomorrow, Thursday, and notice over the weekend, those rain chances are back down a touch. Now, over the weekend, the difference is beaches will be rain-free. So if you're going boating, even on the river, I'm not expecting much rain. I think it's going to be mostly rain for folks in the inland areas west of the river and over inland North Florida. So your weekend forecast looking pretty good if you have outdoor plans. No super big ridge causing heat waves, just typical weather here with drier conditions close to the beach. And beyond that, hey, good news in the tropics. Nothing is developing. There's very few tropical waves. There's a wave there over the central Atlantic off the coastline of Guyana. And then you can see a few clusters of clouds there in the Caribbean. But there's a lot of suppression in the atmosphere due to the dry Saharan air layer. And that is ERIC in the Pacific. And that is a system that will impact Mexico, but not the Gulf of America. Okay, so going on with the forecast, here we are with the rain chances now climbing to about 50% on Monday, but notice I think we're going to be reducing those rain odds here as we head into the early part of next week. So yesterday we had some pretty good downpours and some lightning coming up. We're going to show you pictures of what happens when lightning hits too close to home. Yeah, it did hit home. All right, well, stay with us. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back and we're putting some lightning to play here, if you will. We were dealing with some storms yesterday. I want to take you to the maps and show you the lightning that came through last night around Jacksonville in Duval County. There were severe storms. Around 5:15, there you can see the cluster moving through. And a lot of people think, oh, if a storm has a lot of lightning, it makes it severe. That is actually not a criteria. And it kind of makes sense because you can have one little storm put out several bolts of lightning. It's really the hail and the winds that determines whether or not a storm is severe. This one had basically the high winds, and that's why it was severe. But it also had some lightning. Once that storm moved through Duval, you can see how it tracked northward up into southern Georgia, and there was even more lightning with that one. Our lightning counter shows the lightning ticking up to dozens of bolts happening there across Camden County. Now, the impacts of all that lightning was devastating. Today, there's not going to be much lightning here in North Florida. Notice those little flickers of yellow. Those are the hot spots where the lightning should be, mainly across west central Florida, since storms will tend to pile up on the western side of the state and west of Jacksonville. Now, like I said earlier before the break, tomorrow we'll have a reversal. Much of that rain and thunderstorm activity will build back to the coast, and some of that lightning could impact some of the sports fields and the beaches here as we head towards the evening. But in Baker County yesterday, when those storms came through, they set an attic on fire. And this is something that is all too common here. When lightning can strike, sometimes it creates attic fires that are not noticeable for hours after the storm leaves, because it would be a little bit of an electrical fire, something that the lightning can trigger, and it smolders in the attic and eventually can happen long after the storm. So the storm passed by. You can see the crews were working there late at night trying to put out that blaze in the attic, and many times homeowners don't even know that there's a fire upstairs since it's in one of those hard to find spots. Another lightning strike, this one more visible in Arlington. This one hit a tree. So you can see the scars of that classic telltale lightning strike under a tree. And it knocked power out, or that generated some of the water supply system. So people were out of water yesterday in the Arlington area. So the takeaway from this, get the heck away from trees when there is a thunderstorm. Even if you want to stay dry, trees attract lightning, right? You never want to be under a tree. And when the tree conducts that lightning down to the ground, it propagates out from the roots. And if there are water lines, That's why they say you shouldn't shower during a thunderstorm, because the electrical charge can travel through the water lines and cause shock in showers. And sometimes it can knock out the electrical systems that drive pumps, wells, and some of the utilities, which could cause problems with water supplies in the area. So lightning isn't just a deadly killer. It can cause some real headaches, especially if you're trying to fill up a glass of water or take a shower. Now, we are in lightning season, and those pretty crazy lightning strikes will be a problem each and every day. I think more so in the Jacksonville area here for tomorrow. So keep it safe. If it roars, go indoors, and always wait at least a half hour after you hear thunder, and then you'll know that it's probably safe to go back outside. All right, I'm meteorologist Mark Collins. We'll see you same time, same place right here on Weather Authority Weekday.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.